How's it going, you guys? Welcome. Good morning, Cup. We start today off with the United Nations chief finally putting out a statement regarding the Myanmar coup. He states that we have to ensure as a global initiative to make sure that the coup fails. He also dictated the fact that there are international efforts at play currently to make sure that the coup isn't what it seems to be, including vetoes by numerous nations that we're going to be talking about in a little bit. We carry on to the fact that the United Nations held an emergency meeting that we spoke about earlier. But nothing came out of said meeting because one of the nations that was a part of the council dictated that nothing be done, and that nation was China. China openly stated the fact that nothing should be done in terms of sanctions, in terms of international efforts that should be taken against Myanmar and against the coup that is currently underway. We also understand the fact that China's statement on regarding the same is kind of tainted in some way, shape, or form. Why? Because, well, China initially was in good terms with military coups in Myanmar. Up until 2011, China had no issues whatsoever and rather preferred a military coup. But in recent years, China has kind of fixed its relationship with Aung San Suu Kyi and the democratic movement in Myanmar. Whether we believe that this new revelation that China is backing when it comes to the military coup of Myanmar is supposedly to make sure that China can then use said coup in some way, shape, or form for its own personal benefits still remains to be seen. Either way, there is still international scrutiny regarding the coup, and people everywhere are condemning it. When we talk about China and its relationship with the military coups in Myanmar, it also comes down to the fact that when the military was literally pushing out Rohingyas from the nation, forcing them to flee for their lives, China stepped in then as well and dictated the fact that nothing should be done on an international scale. You see, it has to be a unilateral decision for the United Nations to step in and intervene. But if either one of the nations that are given the seat decline to take any action, then it turns into a whole different ball game. And then legally, the United Nations can't do anything about it. We also understand the fact that amidst the entire coup playing out, we also see healthcare workers in Myanmar starting the first wave of official protests against the coup, dictating the fact that the COVID cases in Myanmar are going through the roof. And with this coup in place, it makes things way more difficult for them than it already was. They want to try and help people, but with the coup in place, they are unable to do so. We move on to the fact that the USS Nimitz is now officially on its way to the South China Sea. Now, this episode is purely dedicated to the fact that there have been tremendous altercations with the South China Sea, particularly. And why I say this is because the USS Nimitz is one of the biggest aircraft carriers that the United States has in its naval fleet. Now, the USS Nimitz was originally based in the Gulf Sea, where amongst tensions with Iran, it made sure that the USS Nimitz was deployed within range. Amongst tensions after Iran had an altercation with the South Korean carrier ship. Well, it turns out now that the USS Nimitz, along with its entire fleet, is now moved to the South China Sea. Now, this comes amongst tensions with Taiwan and Taipei keep on rising with China. The Biden administration has openly put out a statement dictating the fact that it stands in complete solidarity with Taipei and thereby standing against China's entire ploy to make a one China policy and forcing Taiwan to make sure that it joins back with China and refuses to stay a sovereign nation. Well, this also comes under intense scrutiny when we understand the fact that the USS Theodore Roosevelt was already in the South China Sea, and the USS Theodore Roosevelt is more than capable of being war ready at all times. When we look at what the Chinese Air Force has been doing in the South China Sea, it's more than likely that they're preparing to make sure that their ventures into the South China Sea as well as into the Taiwanese airspace is not interrupted at all. We also understand the fact that when China has been running these drills with its Air Force, it has been practicing attacking United States naval fleets. This has been an official statement recorded by observers, so it's not out of the blue. Well, in retaliation to said drills, the United States has been holding drills of its own accord. Drills that have been shared and in cognizance with the Australian Navy as well as the Japanese fleet. Well, now we see Theodore Roosevelt being backed up by the USS Nimitz, one of the most feared warships ever. Now, what this might mean, is this just a deterioration tactic for the United States to make sure that China understands that there is more to lose than to gain with any kind of military altercations? Well, yes, This is initially a way to make sure that China understands that the United States is going to come at the defense of Taiwan if China tries to incurge on Taiwan in any way, shape, or form. It's already breaching Taiwanese airspace on numerous accords. There was that one instance where the United States Air Force came in direct contact with the Chinese Air Force but led to no altercations, and that just ramped up tensions even more. We understand that the Biden administration is taking stringent steps to make sure that China understands that the United States is capable and willing to defend Taiwan in every way, shape, and form. With that being said, we understand the fact that tensions in the South China Sea have never been this high. We also understand the fact that the South China Sea is very lucrative for China, with the Taiwan Strait being the epicenter of all of this conflict. We also understand the fact that the United States did a flyby, essentially with strategic bombers, dictating to China that it is capable of ensuring that strategic bombers are within range, which obviously dictates the fact that the United States is trying to push back China and all of its intents to capture Taiwan. Also, in other quick news, we understand the fact that the Hong Kong protests have now been nominated by the United States for the Nobel Peace Prize, which is amongst a new wave of Peace Prize nominations, including the Black Lives Matter movement. Well, when it comes to this, we understand the fact that there has been a lot of social revolutions, a lot of social change in the past year, as well as continuing on to this year and the years to come. What might come next in terms of China's geopolitical issues, what might come next in terms of the Myanmar coup, what might come next in what resembles the biggest protests on a global scale when it comes to the farmer protests of India, still anyone's guess, but with facts still waiting to be played out, we cannot jump to conclusions. With that being said, you can best believe that we will keep you updated on everything the world has to offer. But until then, this has been your morning cup. I'll see you tomorrow.